Hey there, welcome back to Sea Power, and let's have a look at the upcoming French Navy. I'm saying upcoming because this is a mod that's still in the works. The ship you're currently looking at is the Charles de Gaulle, and this is part of a French Navy pack that is currently in the works, which means we only have a few ships, but the ships that we do have are already shaping up to look rather nice. Such as their carrier, the Charles de Gaulle. Now, of course, the French don't use the typical American gear. They have their own. So let's see exactly what this carrier holds in store for us. What can she launch? And we're starting with missiles on that. A couple of self-defense missiles. These are the Aster 15. It's a Franco-Italian all-weather VLS surface-to-air missile. So they can shoot out to 35 miles, which is quite nice. Should really help you with missile defense. Especially as maybe your outer layers of frigates and destroyers have already done a bit of their work. Maybe the carrier can pitch in as well. Short range, a bit more desperate, is the 24 Mistral class. Sorry, the Mistral, I suppose, is the French would pronounce it. And these launchers only have a range of 4.3 miles. It's basically a small surface-to-air missile. I'm thinking this might be it. Of course, that's not really the striking power of this beauty. Her striking power is in her Rafale squadron. First, we're going to send up an E2C, because I first want to be able to see whatever is out there. We have the Rafale, and the Rafale is capable of taking a couple of different loadouts. This particular aircraft is pretty quick, 670 knots total, and can be loaded out with the Mica IR. Mica IR is a medium range, all-weather, short and medium range air-to-air missile, so 37.8 miles. I'd say that's about on par with Sparrow. If that is insufficient for your liking, you do have the Meteor. And the Meteor, I think this screen's getting a little crowded. The Meteor is actually capable of going out to 108 miles. Substantially better range, and that will definitely aid the defense of the carrier. Because you don't need to wait until you get much closer with your Rafales in order to deal damage against the targets. We also have the Mica EM. Good lord, this E2C is noisy. Can you just take off and leave? The Mica EM versus the IR. What's the difference here? IR is heat-seeking, and EM is basically emissions, so it's going off of radar, active radar homing. It's interesting to see a heat-seeking missile out to 37 miles. Normally, at least American gear, is generally infrared out to short ranges, but apparently the Mica IR can do that at very long range. Now, Mica stands for Missile d'Interception, de Combat et d'Autodéfense. So basically an intercept missile and self-defense missile. That's a hefty self-defense missile for 37.5 miles. Pretty damn nice. They do replace the Matra R550s, which are the Magic 2s. Potentially familiar to some of you. Entered service in 1998, that's the Mica IR. And it remains in service due to its high maneuverability and resistance to jamming. And therein is exactly a very important element. Because what you don't want to have is that your aircraft, especially your missiles, get jammed, which, when you're fighting bombers, is pretty obnoxious. Some of those Soviet bombers have really damn good jamming equipment on their aircraft, which means that your aircraft are just going to randomly shoot missiles, and you'll see those shoot off course, and then you're going to have to shoot again. And so forth, and so on. And it gets tedious. Thankfully, these boys don't have that problem with the Mica ER. Sorry, with the Mica IR. The other one's the EM. This is just one of the loadouts, and as you might have already seen, the Rafale is not just their fighter, it is also their strike aircraft. Because you can also kit them out with the SAM-25, which is a bomb. You can load them out with the SBUs 38 or 64, which are hammer anti-surface laser-guided weapons. At least the 64 is laser-guided, the other one is not. And we got the Scalp EG, the Storm Shadow. That's a hefty and very potent weapon. high precision air-launched cruise missile jointly developed with the UK, or by the UK and the French, designed to strategically destroy strategically important, well-protected targets out to a range of 550 kilometers, although the export versions are slightly less than that. So, yeah, you can definitely inflict some damage at range upon the enemy. I do think that with them only engaging land installations, they're a bit limited. I mean, you won't be able to use these things that well against other ships. So we need something else for that. And that's the Exocet. This is where it gets interesting, and not necessarily in a good way. Because what we have with the Exocet is a 35 mile range air-to-surface missile, anti-ship missile. It's alright. I think it punches harder than a harpoon. At least that has been my experience in-game. And if it does exactly as advertised, that's great. But of course you gotta get your aircraft into enemy airspace, which can be highly contested. That can be quite dangerous. So that is, at least with this particular loadout, a bit of a drawback, and could be considered a problem when you're using the Rafale. Alternatively though, you could just fly low and make sure that you don't get picked up by radar. You pop up, you dump your Exocets, and then you fly home. That is another way to go about it. We also got the M791, which you might know from basically every other aircraft. It is just a projectile weapon. Something I'm personally interested in is how many of those aircraft, and especially how many of those missiles, do you carry? The anti-ship loadout carries 2 Exocets each. Yeah. I can see that becoming a problem. Because if you only got 2 Exocets, that is going to leave you quite vulnerable to just having your missiles get deleted by the Soviet air defense, which they're very adept at. You're going to have to send up loads of Rafales in order to do enough damage, or in order to send enough missiles to oversaturate the enemy's air defense. That could be a weak spot for this particular carrier type. And seeing as the Rafale is really the only offensive gear that they got, it can be a bit of a downer. If you feel particularly confident about your abilities to fly into enemy airspace, you could use a strike loadout and try to deliver some bombs, but it probably won't be pretty. Now, that's just one of the aircraft. We also got the E-2C, as you have it here. This is Damocles. It is in the French colors, Marine. I wonder if they have any particular gear on them that we haven't seen before. I don't think so. I think it's a French version of the E-2C. Fitted with the surveillance radar, upgraded version, operated by Nationale. And they got a range of 243. I think it's slightly better than the American carrier version. As for the Rafale, what sort of sensors do you have? Because that can be rather important. We have an air surface search 108 miles out. We got defensive ECM. That can be very valuable to keep this jet alive. And aside from that, of course, a radar warning receiver and some ESM. This, however, is not typical, I would say. And it can really help you in detecting and then forming a picture of where the enemy is at. Normally, I think it's the E-2Cs that carry this thing. But the Rafales also have it. Which is very useful. There is a large European themed mod that, or rather scenario series that I'm very much angling to play. Only after I'm done with Asian Dreams though. So that's something that I will be doing a little later. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if you're going to see this ship and some others in that particular mod. Okay, what else we got? The NH-90. Can load it out with ASW. Apparently these things don't have an ammo cost. Otherwise you don't get 999 flights. Or you can go anti-tank. Anti-ship with 2 Exocets. I think ASW is going to be more useful in this particular role. Because you don't really have that many other ASW assets. Whereas you do have, of course, tons of strike capability. As that helo is coming up, let's have a look at it. Here she is, the NH-90. Cyclone 1 is her call sign. She has advanced optics. She has the ENR, which is a surface search radar. Again, 108 miles. That seems to be a theme. We have the Flash Sonic dipping sonar. This is very valuable as an addition to the Sonobuoys. It carries 10 actives, 10 passives, 2 torpedoes. And these torpedoes have a range of 8 miles, pretty much on par with the Mark 46 Mod 5. That dipping sonar, what do we got? Ooh, that's a lot of active range. Almost 13 kilometers. So that's about 7 miles. That's very nice. Very nice. As for her speed, how quickly can we get to enemy submarines? 162 knots. It's on the higher end for an ASW helo. You can see the helo is bumping up and down the deck a little bit, but I think this is one of the things that was mentioned on the Steam page as something that is a potential work in progress. And finally, we have the AS565SA, the Eurocopter, and let's send one of those up as well. We only have 2. What can we load them up with? ASW Hunters. Really? They only get 24 chaff. Or ASW Killers, which gives them this. And this is a Italian lightweight fire and forget torpedo. Anti-submarine. Okay, so what's your selling point? Do you come equipped with loads of sonobuoys, or what is it you do best? I just guess use the dipping sonar, because anything else is not going to work. What sort of dipping do you have? Hellras. What? Holy shit. 20 kilometer passive range. Of course, translate that to miles and you come out to about 12. 12 mile passive range, but an active range of 50 kilometers? Jesus. So yeah, this is an ASW Hunter, but not in the typical fashion. It doesn't drop sonobuoys. It drops its transducer into the water. It pings. It active pings, because that works far better than passive. And you just detect things. It just works. They also got an air and surface search radar, 75.5 miles. This thing is impressive. Why are you shaking no? You are impressive. Don't fight me on that. Okay, so that's the carrier. Now we also have a couple of other ships available. And over here we can see one of them. This is the Horizon class, or I suppose as the French would call it Horizon. Armed with the Aster 15. This is the same missile that we've seen on the carrier. We also have the better Aster 30. This is anti-air and can do 65 miles. Very nice missile. Potently, or pretty fast, 2400 knots. Of course, probably that speed will drop off the closer you, or rather the farther you get away from the launching ship. All-weather, vertical launch system, blah blah. We have an anti-torpedo decoy. How about that? If you are under attack, normally you drop a noisemaker. This thing is, from what I recall, better in that it pretends to be the ship itself. Whereas a noisemaker is, I think, just mostly kicking up well, it's not a wake, but let's see, let's just launch one. Because I think, much like one of the other, there we go. Yeah, it's behaving like a torpedo. One that we can't steer, by the way. And one that's only doing 14 knots. But hey, if this little thing can pretend to be my ship and just draw any torpedoes away, I'm all for it. It does carry a hefty amount of those. It carries another 23, so a total of 24 of those things. Nice. Also, the MU-90. This is the Impact. This is a lightweight anti-submarine torpedo. They can throw them out to 12 miles. It might sound good. I still have my reservations about this particular torpedo because it would require that you get that close. If you're going to be looking at ships like these, which are fairly modern, you're also going to be fighting things which are most likely fairly modern. And looking at wakehomers, they got a range of 13.5, so they already outshoot you, which is dangerous. Maybe the helicopter that they carry can also drop it. Exocets. They carry the upgraded version of the Exocet. This is the 100-mile range MM40 Block 3C. That 100-mile range is definitely welcome. Because it is just much more potent than what you had before. Those 30-mile range, I think, on the Exocets, or 22.5 even, is just not really good enough. So I'm glad that they got that upgrade. Then we got the Nexter Narwhal, which I believe is their gun? No, the Auto 76 is their gun. What is your secondary here? That's the COIS. I think it doesn't have a whole lot of clearance. Pause. You're looking at all these antennas and this big fire control radar. So, if you want to be using that, you better get a missile coming in towards your stern. Otherwise, you risk knocking off part of your own equipment. If it will even let you fire. Speaking of firing... Damocles, I need you to get up, because I did set up a target. There you are. And Chevalier, you are free to engage. Target is 69 miles out. Exocet, engage. Off you go. Are you fast? 620, decently fast. Please tell me, though, you don't fly at 1,000 feet. Because that will make you very, very susceptible to getting intercepted. Oh, I don't like this one bit. There's a massive difference in a missile and its interceptability between, let's say, 9 feet, which the more modern harpoons do, and 1,000 feet. Because the enemy will see this missile coming from much farther away. There we go. Out to 48 miles, it then skims to 26 feet. That's better. I was worried it was going to stay at that 1,000 feet altitude. But it's not. Our target for today, our test target, is a Chilean, which is a fleet auxiliary. Fairly hefty cargo ship. And I'm wondering if we can take it down in one go. Let's see. What's the level of damage aboard there? AI, select unit. Damage. Medium damage to the cargo hold. They have some serious fire issues. Aside from that, I'm not so sure she'll go down to one missile. And this is a cargo ship. This is not even a warship. So you might need a few more Exocets in order to cripple things. As for their sensors, I wonder what sort of high-tech gear these guys have got. They got the Empire, which is an air and surface search radar. 162 miles. 300 target channels. Wow. You can keep track of many, many things. We have access to the S-1850 air search radar. I think that's the large L-band on the back. Yep. Then we got a visual sensor. We have another surface searcher. I think pretty much a navigation radar. And we have a hull-mounted sonar array. That's a bit much. 80 kilometer passive. 35 kilometer active. That's a lot. I'm not sure if that is in line with targets. When were these things introduced? Horizon class, French Navy. Because if these things are like 2020s, yeah, they're very, very new. In service since 2008. So that means, yeah, they're gonna have advanced gear, such as this advanced hull-mounted sonar array. We also have electronic support measures. Oh, we even have a towed array, which somehow has no range. And we have universal electronic countermeasures, We can jam six channels on various different bands. And that is next to having offensive ECM, which can jam, based on this, about 30 miles or so. 40. Okay, that's impressive. Helicopter-wise, they carry the NH-90 Cayman Marine, which is capable of launching the X-Set. It's capable of launching the anti-submarine torpedo. Interestingly, it's not capable of bringing that better torpedo aboard. So they don't get the MU-90 impact. They got the older MU-90, the MU-90 base version, so to speak, out to 8 miles. Should still be sufficient, especially as it does 45 knots. But hey, given all of these extreme capabilities, I would kind of expect this thing to also have a helicopter capable of dropping that torpedo. Alright, next up, FREMM. That's another Horizon. And yeah, here they are. This is the Aquitaine, and that's their version of the FREMM. Now, what's a FREMM? It stands for Frégate Européenne Multimission. So it is a French... sorry, not French. It's a frigate, European frigate multi-mission. FREMM. And let's see if they can actually do multiple missions. I'm going to compare these things side by side, because one's a slightly better variant. We got a version 1 and a version 2, so to speak. Version 1 has the Aster, it has the MDCN. What the hell? Oh, it's a naval cruise missile. Anti-surface installation only, so you're attacking ground targets, not warships, out to 900 miles. French turbojet-powered subsonic cruise missile intended for ship and submarine-based land attack operations. Nice. We carry 16 of those. Yeah, the Aquitaine. Carry 16. Then they carry the Exocet Block 3C, so 100-mile range. They carry the MU-90 torpedo, they carry torpedo decoys, and the Oto-76, that's their gun on the bow. And they carry the Nexter Narwhal, which is the one on the stern. Do they also get this crazy sonar range? Well, it's still serious, it's just slightly less crazy, so to speak. 60-kilometer passive range. So that's 34 miles, give or take. It's not that likely that you'll sneak up on one of these ships. Where is your air search, though? Because if it's just Heracles at 135, that's actually a bit of a lapse in capabilities. Interesting. Now, maybe the version 2 has some better capabilities. Missile-wise, and this is the Bretagne. I'm seeing the Aster 30. Interestingly, low numbers. 16 missiles only. That means you're very vulnerable. Ships will overwhelm this frigate. It's a problem. You don't have deep reserves like the Arleigh-Burkes do. You don't have enough missiles to keep defending yourself, which will require you to use that... Actually, it doesn't even have that. No, it does. Yeah, right there. The Nexter Narwhal. You're going to be required to use Sea-Wiz, your offensive ECM, and prayers. Maybe your 76 if you're feeling particularly enthusiastic. But that's it. That's the capabilities that you have. And the same can be said, of course, for the Aquitaine. FREMM. Yeah, FREMM and Chevalier Paul at least have a lot more missiles. They carry 48. I think this ship was designed in a time when there wasn't that much of a peer threat. And that would explain why they don't have that many capabilities regarding self-defense. Offense-wise, yeah, they can engage surface ships, they can engage subsurface ships, they have anti-torpedo decoys, they have their guns, of course, they have offensive ECM, they've got their helicopter capable of going out to strike surface ships, as well as the subsurface units, sonar buoys, the flash dipping sonar, yeah, sorry, flash sonic. I'd say yes, it's a multi-purpose ship, but much like the one that I reviewed for the Italians, It's not great in engaging in high threats or high violence level encounters. Because let's see what happens when I throw something like... where is it? Let's throw something along the lines of a Kirov at them. Spawn. Type. Spawn for task force player. No, for the enemy. The problem is it's not going to be detecting me much. Hold on. Here we go. We now have a Kirov which is going to be detecting and shooting at the task force, because they have also been given a Tu-95. Let's light up the whole Christmas tree and let's see what that is going to do with our air defense. So everybody can activating their surface search, their air search. We gotta make sure that they can see the incoming threat. Surface search. Checking. Yep, radar active, 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 and active. Damocles, I need you to go up to 30,000 feet and keep telling me what's what. Where is Kimono? Can you actually engage enemy missiles with your gear? Their air-to-air loadout is fantastic, though. You got 2 of those infrareds and 6 active radar homing. That is very good. Just for good measure, we're going to neutralize this ship. And let's see what happens when I launch a couple more aircrafts. Yeah, let's go anti-ship for Rafales. I think it's just gonna get swatted out of the sky, all these extra sets of theirs, but let's see. Alright, bring on the missiles. You still shooting or are you done shooting? They were shooting. Yeah, they sent all the shipwrecks. And now they're going, huh? Yep, here we go. They know. Okay, so what happens? Can you engage? Yes, possibly. This is their leader. I'm not sure if these two are linked, but let's assume they are. And here come the missiles. Originating from the Bretagne. They're already using 4 of their Asters. 5, 6. That's it? Oh, right, you didn't detect all the missiles yet. Well, have I got news for you. And none of it's pretty. Here we have the rest of the ships, the rest of the aircraft taken off. Okay. Kimono 2 flight. I need you to head east. Fly low. Let's see if we can actually intercept some things here. Let's see how good these Aster 30s are. Yeah, you can see the whole bunch now. But not for much longer, because they're diving. Missed one. Of course, the enemy might have a Kirov as the core of their enemy task force. They might have more ships capable of launching more missiles. And I think we'll see these FREMM get out of missiles soon. Yeah, this one's already out. Bretagne is out of missiles. Forbin, still launching. Aquitaine, not even taking part. That's interesting. So far, our track record with intercepting missiles is 0. Nothing. Range? 14 miles. Let's see if the Rafale can do anything. And then, just for good measure, we're going to throw the infrareds as well. They do look good. I always like the look of the Rafale. Come on, Asters. You're supposed to make the French proud right now. Kimono 1 has intercepted one of the missiles. There we go. Now we're starting to see missiles drop. Birds away. Aqua 10's also joining the fight now. FREMM is down to 10 of her longer range missiles. You're down to 8. And the carrier itself carries the shorter range options. Let's hope that's enough. I think they might be able to get it done, but the problem now is you've exhausted one of your FREMM. FREMM is down to 26. You got 24. And you got 15. Yeah, so if you got a task force like this, you should be able to survive. And then we can use our own aircraft to strike back. Let's see if that'll actually confirm my suspicion. There's the Meteor. It's nice that they carry the Meteor as a secondary, so to speak, considering their job is to go after a warship. 80 miles. I need to get to 35. 35. This thing is not using radar. Hold on, my friend. Come on. Can you shoot yet? Yes, you can. Dive. That was an evasion. We still carry 4 aircraft here, so we're okay so far. But you gotta be flying in the lowest possible level. Even 1,000 feet will get you attacked. $36 miles. 35. Salvo everything. 1. No, you really do not want to go up. You really don't, because you will get swatted out of the sky. Kirov might be a little busy with the missiles here. Well, they're flying at 14 feet now. That's better. You boys can go back. Let's run this at 10 times speed. This Kirov's going to be in trouble. Arguably it wouldn't be stationary, but whatever. Never gave it a waypoint. They're set to weapons free. Missiles 11 miles out. Now they know. There are a lot of missiles incoming. But for a VLS ship like this, it shouldn't be that much of a problem. There's the next missile. And the next. And the next. Range 7 miles. Gunfire. We still got all 8. Locked on. 23 feet, you're going up. You sure about that? They swatted 1, 2. 2 are spoofed. Intercepted, intercepted, intercepted. Huh. I guess I was too pessimistic about the attack odds. We've hit them a few times. Yeah, that's enough to put this thing out of commission. Especially the shipwrecks are the ones you want destroyed. The Sea-Wiz is great if you can knock it out for further up strikes. As for further damage, I suspect that the damage control parties are going to have their hands full. And will not be able to take care of all of the various fires. And you can see the ship's taking more damage as time goes on. So yeah, maybe the access sets are good enough. It's just the approach that I find dangerous. Because you really have to fly low. in order to avoid any fire control radar from a ship like this. So, I think that was a decent test of the capabilities of the French Navy so far. I'm saying so far because there are a couple more ships planned. There's the Lafayette, the FDI, Le Triomphant, ballistic missile sub, the Ruby, nuclear attack boat, and the Souverain, another nuclear attack boat. And it says, and more. So who knows? There might be a whole lot more in the works. For now, thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. And if you want to install the mod, get into the description. Click the link there. You'll be taken to the Steam Workshop. Follow the install instructions regarding sea lifter and anchor chain. And make sure you put everything in the right order, because apparently that's important for this mod. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. And I'll see you soon for more sea power.